My name's Eric Gonzalez, and you're listening to Beyond the Screen.
I'm Mitch Welker. Each week, we take a look inside the minds of the most interesting drivers on the Fuel Racing League roster. For our first episode, we'll be chatting with Eric Gonzalez. His road to Fuel is one of the most interesting I've ever known, and I can say that with certainty because I've been alongside him for most of it. Enjoy the show. So, Eric, good talking to you here. I've known you for quite a while through a couple of different communities and, finally here back in Fuel. So let's start with the story of your racing team, Gonzalez Motorsports. Can you, I know there's been quite a bit of history with it, but can you give us a bit of an overview of how it came to be?
The short version of it. Well, let's see. So, when was it? It was early 2016? Was it? I don't remember. I think it was like either 15 or 16. I had seen the Top Gear thing of the 24 hours race that they did at Silverstone, and so I was like, "Yo, that's pretty cool." Get your friends together, drive around for 24 hours. It's that kind of thing. And so I was like, what's a 24-hour race that I could, I'm like, 15 at the time, so there's not a lot of opportunities for actually going out and racing. So I'm like, iRacing has a 24 hours of Daytona every year. I could totally do that. And so I hit up your boy Mitch here and say, yo, we should totally do a team for the 24 hours of Daytona. Turns out that my computer was big potato at the time, so on top of my lack of driving ability and not having a wheel, I opted to not run that race. And let's see what happened after that. So then that was really the formation of GMS, and then
we had
the team started getting.
We had Curtis. We got Curtis.
Kurt, yeah, and was it? It was Kurt and then Billy.
We got Kurt first.
Yeah,
he was part of the flight sim community. Me and Eric had originally met there, and then we picked up Curtis, and then we somehow found Billy. But
yeah. And then that was the team. It was you, Kurt, and Billy for Daytona.
Right.
Then we got yeeted at Daytona by a GT, wasn't it? I think it was.
Yeah.
And then after that, you picked up, what was his name?
We picked up Raph.
Yeah, Raph. And then was it after the 24 hours of the Nürburgring? Y'all just kind of split off and did your own thing.
Right.
Then for a little bit, I just I didn't really do a whole lot. I kind of just stuck to getting my oval rating up and did a lot of oval racing because that was where there was more content, just default. So I figured, I'll do that. And then for whatever reason, I started doing IndyCars like Delara Dash and all that. And I got my fix for downforce oval racing. And then I started driving the IndyCar when I got my C license, and my addiction for the IndyCar on ovals only grew from there. And then I found Fuel, and then GMS started running in Fuel, and now we run in Fuel.
How did you find Fuel?
I think there was a Reddit post about. I just went on the iRacing Reddit page one day, and it was talking about there was a new league starting up called the Fuel Racing League, and they had an IndyCar league or IndyCar series, and I was like, oh, that's loud music in the background. Ain't a whole lot I can do. That's gonna be annoying.
That's all right for now.
Yeah, okay,
Um,
whatever.
but we briefly talked about our past being in flight simulation. Do you remember back how you ended up on my flight simulator formation team? Eric?
Sorry, I was just closing the door.
Okay.
How did let's see, what did I we were doing something. I don't actually remember. No, I don't. It's so long ago.
Honestly, I don't either. So it's a little bit embarrassing. But um, anyway, we did meet in Flight Simulator, me and
Mhm.
Eric, and he ended up on my formation team. At the time, we were doing, oh, I don't even remember what team. We did way too many for our
Were
own good.
we Did you end up joining the Flying Bulls? Was that the one that you were? No. No, I don't think
No,
were we ever on the same team? I don't think we were.
we were, because
We were?
I PM'd you the other day a Google Doc of you submitting an appeal to you being banned from our flight simulation team. You remember that?
Wait.
I think it might have been
Uh
our Blue Angels
I
team in
don't
FSX.
I have no idea. I genuinely don't.
I didn't know either until I found that the one day. But I think that's kind of where we started out, and then
That was okay. Like, okay, this has nothing to do with the fact that I remember anything about it, but that was how, like, that was
that
years.
was quite a while. At least as far back as early 2016, maybe even
Yeah,
between 2016 2017 ish.
yeah,
Also, I do remember. Side note: after we ended up splitting, or you ended up splitting from the team, I met you on Rainbow Six, playing Rainbow Six, because I found out that you played that,
yeah,
and then we did that. Just we kept meeting at certain points along our
yeah,
timelines, and now,
yeah.
we're kind of just stuck together again. um,
It was pretty strange. Yeah.
yeah. So, um, tell us a bit about your current successes with GMS. How is the team right now? How stable do you feel with your
Well,
position?
at the moment, I think GMS is in a good space. We got me, Matt, and Brophy as really the core team. Last season, for IndyFix, the official iRacing season, I think that we had a very strong season. I've actually got the certificates for finishing first in my division and second overall in the iRacing IndyFix series. So we have been doing something right at least. But yeah, that was a long 12 weeks of just straight getting as many points as possible, trying to bust it out. I think that yeah, our look and fuel is kind of I don't know. We've all kind of like just after that season, just kind of like got a little like we need to take a break just because it was long. It was pretty intense, and then um, yeah, but outside of that, I think our team is fast. I know we have good drivers. We can all be running up at the front. The only problem is there's always something that goes wrong. Either be it a strategy call that doesn't work out in the end, or maybe it's getting in the wrong spot and then you get taken out, or you get run into the wall and you have some side pod damage and you're slow the rest of the race. It just little things that uh, go wrong that in the end compound to be worse than they are. But yeah, I think I don't know if we're looking big enough picture in the races that we're doing, but I don't know. There's something about the fuel races that I think that we need to try and figure out how to get better at them. But I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't think it's in a terrible place. I think that that's just something you gotta look at, and I think we can figure it out.
right. So, what are your ambitions for the future in the Fuel Racing League with GMS? Do you hope to be champions, or are you mostly just there for the wins and for the fun?
None of us are really championship caliber drivers. Matt Brophy and I aren't very strong on the road courses. I mean, Brophy's pretty good at them, but he's not one of the fastest people in the world. So I mean, I'm sure Brophy would like if he got the opportunity to win a championship. I'm really only here just for wins and to have fun on Thursday nights when I got nothing better to do. But and then Matt, I think, is really here just to have fun. Maybe not win a championship, but he'll try and show up to more races than I will. I won't show up to the road courses most of the time, but yeah, I'm really only here to have fun. And if the team can get a championship, that'd be cool. But I don't know. Maybe a team championship if possible, but we'll see.
All right. Looking back on yourself, how did your passion for motorsport come to be? How did you even get to iRacing?
Throughout my childhood, I remember going to Indianapolis for qualifying just every year or every few years if we didn't have something going on during that week. But because my grandparents lived in Indy or my cousins lived in Indy before my grandparents moved a little bit closer, and so we'd go over with them and we'd sleep in their house, and then we'd go drive down to Indy and watch qualifying. And so that was really what got me into watching racing, and so I remember watching the races. I don't remember a whole lot from them because I was pretty young at the time and I didn't really pay that much attention. But I do remember watching IndyCar, and then when Danica moved over to NASCAR, we started watching NASCAR and not so much IndyCar, which I'm kind of regret because NASCAR. But then about 2017 was the end of that year. I really started watching IndyCar again. 2018, I kind of got back into it, and then this was like the year where I really started following IndyCar again, which is kind of strange to think about. That I didn't really. No, 2018 was when I really started getting back into IndyCar. This was when, yeah, I don't know. This is my second year, I guess, getting back into IndyCar, and then I started watching F1. Was it last year, 2 seasons ago, towards the middle of the season, kind of, and then last year, kind of watched the replays of it, the highlights, and then this year I watched the full races of them. So, or at least most of them, if it wasn't just Lewis Hamilton winning every single race from pole, and there wasn't a whole lot going on. So, yeah, I guess that's how I got into racing.
Very good. I guess one more question that I have. Do you plan on returning to racing on the roadside anytime soon, you personally? As far as maybe endurance or maybe even just sprint races?
Sprint races, I don't know. We'll see. Endurance, if Matt wants to run the 24 hours of Daytona, I'd totally be down to do it. I've talked to him about it because it actually does seem like something that would be fun because I didn't get my chance to do it when I was with y'all's, and it's something that I think would be. It's a little less stressful because you can be a little bit slower. You don't have to be super aggression 100% of the time. It's more
Right.
long term. You have to look at getting to the end of your stint
Managing
and
the
not
car.
just yeah.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like it's like I don't know, an Indy 500, kind of the middle stages of that. You just kind of got to click off laps. You don't need to be in the front. So I think that would probably be something that I'd do over the GP series or something like that, or even Fuel Road, just because I don't have the consistency to constantly be 110% every lap. So
For sure.
yeah, I don't know.
All right, well, that's understandable. Um, that's kind of all I had for this first episode here. Not a whole lot, but for sure enough to get a bit of insight into your beginnings with fuel and your race team GMS. And yeah, well, thanks for coming on, and we'll see you all next time.
Yeah, no problem.